All right, good morning. Today we are going to have an honest conversation about recruiting, not a hypey conversation about recruiting, an honest one. Who's here for it? You guys ready for some real talk?
Yes.
All right, I love it. So if you guys are watching the stream, go ahead and comment there. Feel free to comment as much as you want in the chat. Here's what we're going to go over today. We're going to talk about what's hard about recruiting. If you are new, if this is your first training with me, you might be wondering, who is this Tasha person? Is she qualified to teach me anything? I think that is a very fair question. So I'll give you a little bit about my background. And then we're going to go into the 5 bottlenecks, the real reasons we're not recruiting and building a team. And so I'm going to outline all 5 bottlenecks, which we've published already, what the 5 bottlenecks are. But then we're going to go into how to fix them. This is not a teaser webinar. This is a speech that I give that I get paid to give when I go and speak in person. And so my goal here for today, I'm not going to be able to fix your entire recruiting process in an hour. I think you guys know that, right? But my goal for you today is to find one shift, right, that makes you think differently about recruiting and helps inspire you to move into more action. Does that sound fair? Mm-hmm. And if you want to fix all of these things together, which I think is the easiest way to do it, we do have Recruit Like a Boss Mastermind in 2 weeks. Does that sound like a good agenda today? All right, I am very undisciplined when it comes to answering questions. So here's my one request to keep us on time today. If you have questions, can you put them in the chat? I am going to ask you guys questions and unmute, and we're going to talk about stuff. But if you have additional questions, I will bite every time, and then I won't be able to keep time on the webinar. Is that fair? You guys, for those of you that ever coached me, you know that's true. So help me help you finish the webinar on time and put your questions in the chat. And what I'll do is I'll stay after and answer all those questions. Deal? All right, cool. Let's go ahead and open up Pandora's box right now, I guess. What's hard about recruiting for you? We'll need someone brave to go first. And you can put it in the chat too, but you can also unmute. What's hard about recruiting?
I'll unmute, Tasha.
Yeah, go for it, Teresa.
What's hard about recruiting is that I prejudge everybody that they wouldn't be interested in it.
All right, prejudge everyone. Who can relate to Teresa? And who is grateful she went first? All right, thank you, Teresa, for sharing that. What else? Amber's on board. Andy, yeah. Finding people to approach, especially during the pandemic. Man, this pandemic, right? What else? Thanks, Suzette, for sharing that.
Properly.
Oh, who said that? Where are you?
Don.
Oh, hey, Yvonne. Right in the middle. Okay. Say again.
Getting them trained.
Getting them trained. Thank you for sharing. Who can relate to that? To either the getting people trained or the finding people to approach? Who can relate? Yeah, okay. Fear itself. I'm curious, fear of what? Getting the conversation started without being spammy, sleazy, pushy, or needy. Who can relate to that one? So how do I start the conversation? Finding people. Not feeling confident in my ability to train them. Yeah, who can relate to that one? Okay. Yeah, I think that's right.
You know, it's funny, Tasha, I've never thought about that, but yeah, that's a real one. The fear of having to train them and get them up to speed. And then whether you're going to be too pushy or not pushy enough. Yeah, that's a real one for sure.
Yeah, I think that's real too. Not knowing what to do with them, what to get them on board, being a bad leader, sounding genuine. And so then there's like, I am genuine, but do I sound genuine? Those feel like, there's a lot there. Okay, so here's what I have. prejudging, finding people to approach, getting them trained, fear, starting the conversation. How do I train them? Sounding authentic. Is that right? Does that sound right? Is there anything that I missed? Some people say I don't want to sell. Being firm. Ooh, that's good. Being firm without being a dictator or harsh. Who can relate to that? Like the line of assertive and confident versus aggressive. Yeah, I get that. Not feeling like a leader. Don't feel overwhelmed, so they see wins right away. Okay, that's a good bunch of really good ones. How does it feel to just get all of that out there and know that you're not the only one? Good. Like, give me a thumbs up. Good? Better? All right, cool. I think a lot of recruiting trainings, they're just like all sunshines and rainbows and unicorns, right? Like you walk into a recruiting training, it's like everything is awesome. Everything is awesome all the time. And all you need to do is this and that. And there's some truth to that, isn't there? But when we get down to it, we are humans who have feelings, unfortunately, or fortunately, because if we were robots, right, we wouldn't enjoy either. But a lot of these feelings, it's like a mixture of the feelings and the strategies. Did you guys see that? It's not one or the other. It's not just the fear. It's the fear because what do I even say and what's my process? Right? So it's both. And I think that is something that we really just need to do a better job of talking about. I think when we talk about the challenges, they're not so bad, right? Do you guys already feel like your nervous system calming? Because when we're with other people, right, who are with us and doing the things with us, that's how we're supposed to operate, right? And Andrea just sort of nailed it. Fear they're going to fail and that I would have led them astray or wasted their time. And so there is some, like, that is so well articulated. Thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable. But there's two pieces to that, right? There's the actual, what do I do? And then there's the courage part. And we need to be able to address both because we need to have a holistic view of recruiting. Okay. So I'm curious, I know a lot of familiar faces, I'm sure you guys have noticed. I'm like, oh, hey, how's it going? Haven't seen you in a while. Will you humor me and just put in the chat, are you new? Or in Southern California, we call it OG, Original Gangster. Any Southern Californians here? So let me know, are you new or are you OG? Oh, lots of new people. Okay, cool. OG, MG. I don't know what that means, but OG, but haven't been here for a while. All right, cool. So you guys have taken some courses, been around a while. Okay, cool. So for everyone that's new, I do want to give you just a little bit of background. I don't think that we should train or take advice from people who don't align with our values. Would you guys agree with that? Yep. So I'm just going to take a few minutes. OGs, you've heard the stories before. Enjoy the performance. So my first disclaimer for you is that I am not an active network marketer. I have one redeeming quality. I am your customer. So here's how I got into all of this. We've been running Emerge Sales Training it's been over 6 years now, which is really, really crazy. So a little over 6 years ago, I was working my corporate job. Oh, I'll back up a little bit. When I was 20 years old, I started selling Cutco knives. Have you guys heard of Cutco knives? So I sold Cutco knives. When I graduated from college, I went to UC San Diego. I opened my own office. And so I spent my entire early 20s teaching 18-year-old kids to sell $1,000 sets of knives to housewives and get referrals and build their businesses that way. My personal sales were about 140,000, which equates to about 500 new customers, all through referrals and events and home shows, stuff like that. My team sold over $1.4 million, and yeah, that's what I did. We probably recruited over 1,000 reps, direct sales reps during that time. I did not count at all, so I don't know. Between 4 years, how many that was, I don't know, probably an average of 10 a month. So whatever that ends up being. When I was 24, 25, this was back in the 2000s before direct sales and network marketing was really cool like it is today. You guys know how cool it is today, right? Today, it's much more accepted, right? Back in the 2000s, not that much. So what I ended up doing is I took all of my direct sales and leadership experience, I took it to corporate America, and I did well. So I ended up getting a corporate job, was a new hire trainer, sales manager, recruiting manager for several years. I was 35 years old. My kids were 3 and 5, and I was salary capped. What do you guys think?
Sucks.
Sucks. Yes, that is the right word. And I looked at the next 30 years of my life and thought, am I really going to be driving an hour and 15 minutes each way? My kids are little to be salary capped. And I said, well, I don't really know. I'm just going to mute you guys for background. I don't really know what other marketable skills I have. The only thing I've done for the past 15 years, what I was thinking, is teaching non-sales people how to sell stuff. So maybe I'll try a business. I put up a podcast and started tinkering on my lunch breaks and Monday nights. And I ran into my friend at the dojo where our kids did karate. And I have 3 podcast episodes up. And this is why I'm such a big believer in just like do something and see what happens. 3 podcast episodes up, nothing else. And she closes her eyes and invites me to her network marketing event. And I snarkily responded, I will come to your event if you listen to my podcast. Who would take that deal, by the way? Listen to a podcast to get someone to come to your thing? Well, joke's on her, right? She listened to the podcast and sent me a text later. I had 3 episodes. And she said, I think I want to hire you. I was like, I don't know, maybe this much. I started working with her. She went from making $50 a month for 2 years straight to making $450 the next month. So then her upline hired me. Catherine was an introvert and a former coder, just to give you context. So we fixed her sales conversation. Her upline saw her paycheck go up and was like, what's this? And so then she hired me. I was still working my full-time job. She enrolled 12 people the next month. And so then her upline hired me. By this time I'd left the job. Obviously, it's a good idea to leave your job when you have 2 part-time clients, right? No, you don't think so? So I left my job after I was making $400 a month in my coaching business. Thought that was a good idea. And we went all in, and I ended up, that 4th leader ended up being a 6-figure earner. We trained her entire team on our sales process, and they went from making 400 enrollments one month to 800 the next. We've been very busy since. Now, a lot of people will ask, okay, Tasha, why is your training work so well? So we've coached, here's like the brief resume. We've coached over 9,000 people. We've coached over 100 6-figure earners. 1 master distributor, 2 company owners, wrote a book, all those things. That's not what's really important though. People will say, why do your processes work so well? Well, first, I have a background in training. That helps. But second, we don't look at it from the upline's perspective, right? We're not like, okay, what do I need you to do, or what worked for me? We flip the whole thing and we look at it from the customer perspective. We say, how can we make it easier to buy? If we took a step back and we said, how can we make this sales and recruiting and leadership process great for the other person instead of us? What would that look like? How would that feel? Right? And we also believe 100% that we need to be good humans in the process. So I don't buy the whole who cares what they think about you thing. Now I do to an extent, right? I'm like a woman who shows up to work in a t-shirt. I know, crazy, right? So there's an element of being yourself, but we understand that your reputation is important. We understand that your community is important. We understand we do not want to run a business that feels pushy or salesy, etc. We need to retain you first. right? We have to retain you, and then we have to be effective. And so here's our training philosophy. If you guys want to write this down, our customer comes first, our team comes second, and our ego comes third. How does that feel to you guys? Yeah. So here's the question that we're going to have today is, how can we have a recruiting process that honors our customers and honors our team? Right? Like, could we do it right? The Recruit Like a Boss Mastermind used to be called Please Recruit Responsibly. Because I think most of the people that we work with want to be thoughtful, caring, excellent leaders. Is that you? Yep, right. Let me know in the comments. If that's you, just type like, yep, or me, right? If you want to be a responsible, thoughtful, caring, excellent leader. Yes. Okay, cool. And so we really need to start there. We need the recruiting processes to be something that's customer friendly, that doesn't make them feel bad, right? We need to be we need to make sure our recruiting processes make our team members feel valued and honored. Like there's trust there. And then of course that's going to help our ego. I didn't say ego's last, guys, or never. I didn't say ego never. I just said third. Fair? Okay. So are you guys cool with that philosophy as we go into what it is that we're doing here? Okay, awesome. So I've been working full-time plus for the past 6 years, and all I do all day is coach network marketers and other business owners on sales and recruiting and leadership. Okay. All right. So shall we get into the 5 bottlenecks? Do you guys feel better already? Hopefully a little bit. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to attempt to share the screen on the Zoom and share the Zoom on the slides on the screen. So wish me luck on the tech. So here we go. So we have 5 bottlenecks here, and I don't love using slides, but I think it's going to be easier for you guys. I'm just going to keep the Google thing up here. Are you okay with that? It's a little bit lazy tech. But it's a lot easier for me to see your faces and manage both streams if it just is like this. Okay, so there are 5 bottlenecks. Number 1, do I want to be a leader? And this one comes from, how many of you, and you can put in the chat, me, how many of you started your business because you love the products? Just either raise your hand or put me. And then all of a sudden you looked at some bubbles and you're like, oh crap, I have to be a leader, but you never really thought about it that much. Or you might look at your upline and you're like, I don't know, that seems like a lot. So there's this bottleneck of, do I even want to be a leader? Second one is, what do I do if they say yes? We kind of outwardly saying yes is what we want, but really the thought of them saying yes makes us want to hide underneath a blanket on our couch and watch Netflix all day. How many of you can relate to that one? Yep. Okay. Third, am I good enough to be a leader? I know this is a lot of real talk. Fourth, does my recruiting conversation stink? We've run over 5,000 people, maybe 6,000 at this point through our sales course, and most people's sales conversations sort of stink. And we fix that. And then their conversion goes from like 10% to 60%. Well, what about our recruiting conversation? Most people don't even have an outline. And then the 5th is, am I even trying? Now, most recruiting conversations start with the, am I even trying? Right? And so they'll do like a 7-day challenge. They'll be like, you're not even trying. Blitz, 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 blitz. Right? Have you guys experienced that? That doesn't stick, does it? Here's why it doesn't stick. I want you guys to imagine that you have a speedboat. Okay, and this is your network marketing business. This is your leadership. This is your team. And you have a full tank of gas. And the am I trying is like the gas. And then you hit the gas as hard as you can, but then you realize you're not going anywhere. And the reason you're not going anywhere is because you have tied 4 anchors to your speedboat. Doesn't matter how hard you hit the gas if you don't, if there's 4 anchors. Doesn't matter. What will happen if you hit the gas, but you have 4 anchors? I don't know how many of you guys are boat people. Yeah, what happens?
Nothing will happen. You'll stay right there.
Nothing will happen. And you'll be like, what's wrong with me? I'm hitting the gas. It must be me. But the truth is you have 4 anchors. And so what you would have to do before you hit the gas, right, is that you would need to cut the anchors off. Does that sound right? And so these other 4 bottlenecks, the do I want to be a leader? What do I do if they say yes? Does my recruiting conversation stink? Am I good enough to be a leader? Those 4 are the anchors. We have to cut those before when we hit the gas, right? It goes. Now, here's the other thing about the boat. So you take your boat, and I know speedboats, we usually don't anchor, but I mean, will you just roll with me on this halfway analogy? So we take our boat, we have 4 anchors, we release them or pull them up, we hit the gas, we go to a destination, and now we're at a new destination. Don't those anchors come back out? So here's the interesting thing about the anchors. Every time you up level, they show up again. Right? So if I'm just starting, I don't know how many of you guys are like, I don't really have any team members yet. I'm just starting. You're going to have those 4 bottlenecks, and it's going to be at your level. But when I coach master distributors, guess what 4 bottlenecks they have? The same ones. They just look different, right? Because do I want to be a leader of this huge organization? Oh my gosh, all that responsibility. Do I want to be a leader? What do I do if they say yes? They have so many people. They can't do what they did before. Right? Am I good enough to lead all these people? Right? Versus am I good enough to lead 3 people? Do you guys see how these show back up? Right? And then at that level, maybe they're doing them on Zoom to lots of people, and we have to relook at, does my recruiting conversation stink? And so each time you up level, it kind of opens up like a video game, and we have to address those bottlenecks again. Right? Just like if you took your speedboat to one spot, you set the anchors down, then you have to pull them back up to go to a different spot. Does that make sense? Okay. And now I'm super curious in the chat here. Let me get back up here. Let me get up back here. If you just go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm super curious which ones really feel the most relevant to you right now.
5.
5? And you can toss it in the chat, because I can only see a handful of you. And if you guys are watching the stream, you can toss that there too. 4 and 5, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4. Anyone with all? Four and 5, all. There we go. 2, 4, 4, 5, 2, 5, 4 and 5. All, yes, all. Sure, all. Okay. All right. Love it. Now, what we have found is that just articulating the problem is helpful to solving it, because we move from why, right? Don't I have a team to why don't I have a team? Oh, these are my issues. These are my bottlenecks. Now that I know that, I can get to work on addressing them. Mary, I see your hand is raised. Is there something you wanted to ask or add? Nope. Okay, so I'm just going to lower your hand. You probably put it for something else. Okay. Once we start to ask the right question, we start to get the right answers, and then we start to get the right results. If we're asking the wrong question, we get the wrong answers, we get the wrong results. So if the question is, why do I suck so bad? You're going to get the wrong answer and you're going to get the wrong results. But if your new question is, how do I address each of these bottlenecks? Right? If I am not launching or starting at least one new person a month, I'm stuck in a bottleneck. Which one is it? Right? And once we can identify which one it is, then we can start to move forward. All right, so if we were able to work on figuring this out, would that make you feel better about building a team? Yep, I probably don't even know what is on these slides. Okay, so let's talk about, do I want to be a leader? So perhaps you got into this because you love the products and you didn't switch the mindset. And I have two big questions. Does your vision include a team? And are you worried that leadership is too much work? Many of our clients are individual contributor high performers in their previous career. And I'm curious if that's you, if you want to say in the chat, that they were great in their previous careers, but it was based on their efforts, not necessarily other people's efforts. We work with a lot of teachers, nurses, doctors, professionals that weren't used to that, right? And so they want to come in and they're like, I can do this. Anyone can do this, but might be worried leadership is too much work. Can any of you guys relate to this? Yeah? Okay. So to fix this, we need to start with a vision that includes the team, not just the products. And here's what I mean. Most people have a vision, right? Most of our clients have amazing products. And the reason they got into the business is because they love the products. If that's you, just pop product in the thing, because I think that's most people. Maybe like 10%, if that, are business first people. Most people are, this is a good business because it's a good product. And so their vision sort of sounds like this. I want to help people get their hands on this awesome product. Does that sound right? How many of you guys can relate to that? I want as many people to get products as possible. But we never adjusted the vision to include a team. How many families do you want to help on a monthly basis? 5 or 500? 5 or 500, write it in the chat. Now I'm all about leading with products, but we still have to address these bottlenecks. No one says 5? Okay. Can you do 500 on your own? So we actually have to go into the future and have a vision for what does our team look like, right? And so what I'm going to pose to you is to make sure that your vision includes a team, is to shift it. It could just be a simple like, oh, shoot. What woke me up in the morning was saying, I want to help people. A lot of our clients do health and wellness, right? But it can be anything. I want to help people with their health, or I want to help people with their confidence, or makeup, skincare folks. I want to help people with their finances for our financial services folks. Do you guys get up and you're like, that's what I want to do? We have to shift that to, I want to create a team of people who help people with their whatever. We shift that vision and we start to shift our actions. Right? Some of you guys are planning for a convention in the fall, hoping it's going to get pulled off, right? How many people are with you? Right? We have to have that vision before we're going to start to have the actions that line up with the vision. But if the vision is just, I want to help people with the products, you're not going to have a team because your team is not included in the vision. Right? If your vision includes a team and you stay super focused on it, then you start to ask questions like, how do I create a team of people that helps others with blank, whatever your industry thing is? Do you see how your actions are going to start lining up with that? So we have to start with the vision. The second thing we need to do is understand what the role is. What is network marketing even? My role as a leader is to encourage, support skill development, and provide clarity. You are not their boss and you are not responsible for their success. I'll maybe add here, role model, right? You need to role model, encourage, support skill development, and provide clarity on really what their next step is. That's going to bother me that that's like that. So do your job, get new customers, start new builders, encourage people, support skill development, and provide clarity. Part of network marketing leadership and direct sales leadership is holding people loosely, right? Drawing a little T-chart says, what can I control? What's in my control and what's in your control? And I think what happens and why leadership starts to feel really heavy is we try to control things that they're supposed to be in control of. Is their influence in their network your control? Right? If nobody listens to your new builder and they don't respect them, is that in your control? No. If their spouse is unsupportive and gives them a hard time every day, is that in your control? What are the things that are in your control as a leader? Role model, encourage, support skill development, provide clarity within the model of your schedule. And I think what really helps is to communicate your role as a leader to your team. And what this does is it empowers them, right? For a lot of you, you're clients of mine. But I'm not in charge of your success, am I? Who's in charge of your success? If I start to overdo my savior complex, which is really what it is, and I say, okay, it is up to me if you are successful, what have I just done? I've taken
take
over
their
your
power away.
I've taken the power away, right? But if I say, here's my role is to role model good business building behaviors as your business coach. It may not be exactly what you're doing, but it's going to be close enough. I'm not going to ask you to do something I've never done or don't do. Deal? Second, I'm going to encourage you. You're going to be hard enough on yourself. You don't need me to add to it. So I'm going to remind you why you can, to combat all of your mental stuff on why you can't. Right? I'm going to give you your next step, the next thing you need to do. I can do that. Right? I don't maybe know what you're going to do in a year or 3 years from now, but I can say, here's what I think your next step is. So you can move into action instead of inaction. And I can point you to resources that will improve your skill development. And isn't that kind of what you want in a leader? And if I don't have a resource, I could just say, I don't know, but here's where you can go. One of my private clients is in a Fraser Brooks workshop. Oh my gosh. You know why? Because I don't teach Instagram. It's outside, like I can't do all of it, right? There's only so much I can do as a human. And so when I look at my role to support skill development, it's not just to be the answer to all of your problems, right? It's to support your skill development, not to be your skill development. Do you guys see the difference? Right? You are not professional trainers. That's not how your compensation plan works. You are network marketers. Your job is to sell, recruit, launch, sell, recruit, launch, sell, recruit, launch. And it is their job to decide how long they want to stay in the game. Does that sound better? And you can organize that based on your schedule. All right, here we go. Next bottleneck. You guys ready for it? Yeah, no, yeah. Beth says, yeah. All right, let's go. Second one, what do I do if they say yes? Does the thought of them saying yes actually have you wanting to curl up under your bed? This comes from not having a clearly defined schedule, number one. And this comes from not having a clearly defined launching process. If you can relate, type guilty in the chat. Clearly defined schedule, clearly defined launching process. Tackling this will eliminate the most drag in your business. So what do we do? We're gonna tell people, as far as your schedule goes, I do not expect you to mentor every builder on your team weekly forever. There's concepts, right? Like, oh yeah, I mentor, my best people weekly. But you have to actually always rearrange your schedule, right? And even as a professional business coach, I have to always look at this. How many people can I take on? I told a couple of clients a few weeks ago, and I said, my one-on-one is full. I'm so sorry. But you know what? I have this group coaching program that's going to be killer for you. It's perfect. And that's what I can give you right now because I am a human. Is that okay with you guys? Does that offend you if I draw that boundary? Because if I say I can provide one-on-one coaching to every single person on my team, there's no way I can deliver that. And now I'm going to start breaking promises. And that's a problem, right? So here's a good line for you guys when you're recruiting. I provide some one-on-one and group coaching to the most motivated people on my team, which means I do not provide one-on-one and group coaching to people who need therapy. That's what therapists are for. And that's not a slam, but that's not your job. Remember your job? Sell stuff, launch people, encourage, support skill development, right? Your job is not to solve the marriage problem so that they can work. Do you guys see that? And that frees up a lot of time. And once you have so many people that your one-on-one time is out, then you just move people to group coaching. That's what we've had to do. But that way we can offer and they can decide. Right? We're not trying to overpromise and under-deliver. And as far as your training plan, organize your outlines so they can be shared easily. Really simple hack is make sure that you capture what you say to people. If you don't already have an outline, we teach the outlines in our sales course. If you don't have an outline, just record one of your presentations and have it transcribed. Then you'll have an outline. And then you can share your outline, and that helps, doesn't it? You can also clarify your process to get people to their first new customers. I think what intimidates a lot of leaders is that they feel like if someone says, I want to make this a career, they feel like they have to give everything right then and there. If someone wants to enroll 100 people in a year, they have to enroll 1 first, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. This is called the milestone method to mentorship. Instead of focusing on all the things they need to do, focus on their next first. Their first customer, their first builder, their first paycheck. And we just move them, right? And then all we have to teach them is a thing for their next milestone. Is that free? That feel better? Milestone method is simply moving them to their next milestone and only teaching them the things that they need to know for that milestone.
I was just about to ask you to repeat that. Thank you.
You're welcome. We only need to teach them things for the next milestone. My daughter, Zoe, both my kids are starting to learn basketball, which has been amazing and very stressful for me. Zoe went from her co-ed team and she made all-stars, which is cool. On her co-ed team, she was invisible though, first place team, all boys. Her coach only wanted her to rebound. And so all we ever did was focus on rebounding. Well, her all-star coach is like, I'm going to need her to play point guard. She's one of the best athletes on the team because it's all girls now. And I was like, oh, shoot. So what do I need to teach her? Do I need to focus her on rebounding anymore? Do I need to teach her all the things about basketball, or do I need to teach her what she needs to do in her next game? That's it. Right? We can get to all the other things later, but I need to just give her enough so that she can reach the next milestone, which apparently is dribbling the ball up the court, which is not ever something she's never done it. We did 0 dribbling drills because that wasn't her next milestone, but now it is. We'll get super focused on that one thing over the next week and she'll be fine. But I'm not going to add rebounding drills. I'm not going to add screening, right? Like all those other things that we use, right, that aren't going to be necessary for her to play point guard, I'm not going to teach her. in the effort of trying to, like, create a college basketball star at the age of 11. We'll have time for that. Fair? All right, you guys ready for the next one? Okay, somehow I'm not. Okay, am I good enough to be a leader? Every leader suffers from this because as we grow, so do our challenges. There's this law, there's this leadership principle called the law of the lid, that we rise to our level of incompetence. If you are looking to master entrepreneurship, I have bad news for you. You will never master it. Because once you succeed at one level, it will automatically promote you to the next level of which you have no experience. So for people that are searching for, I just want to know what I'm doing, and then I'll be confident as a leader, it's never going to happen. Peace as a leader comes from understanding that both are true. I am not good enough to be a leader because I'm probably in over my head, as I should be. But I am good enough as a leader because I am willing to show up and role model. Remember back, role of leader. I am willing to role model, support skill development, encourage, and provide clarity to the best of my abilities. It's to hold this question loosely, but it's also, what is it that we think we need to offer that makes us feel like we aren't good enough? And I will go all the way back to the leadership control issue that we briefly spoke about, that we think we're responsible for their success. And because we're responsible for their success, we think we are, but we're actually not, right? That's where this starts to get wonky, because we think we have to know everything. We think we have to be everything. We think we need to be available all the time. But let me ask you this honest question. Is that what you want from a leader? For them to know everything, be everything, respond 24/7, make you successful? What do you want from a leader? Type it in the chat. Just one thing that you would want from your leader. Support, direction, push me, resources, knowledge, guidance, listen and encourage, support, training or access to training, expectations, direction, encouragement, acceptance for where I'm at, resources, support, guidance, encouragement. Not knowing everything ever? That takes a load off. Honesty, resources, assistance. What about real talk? Yeah. People want trust, compassion, stability, and hope. This is what the Gallup research says. No one said, I want them to know everything or be perfect. Okay? So how do we fix this? Focus on how you provide trust, compassion, stability, and hope. I have a Post-it right here on my desk that says, duh, trust, compassion, stability, and hope. So when I start to flip into either imposter syndrome or savior complex, which are just two sides of the same coin, I have to come back and say trust, compassion, stability, and hope. We have to stop comparing the way we provide trust, compassion, stability, and hope to the way others provide trust, compassion, stability, and hope. And we also need to continue to develop ourselves. The only way to gain wisdom is to gain experience. There's no way around that, is there? And the only way to gain experience is to try and make mistakes. There's no way around that. Most people want the wisdom without the price, right? And so what we have to do is continue to develop ourselves as leaders. And when we know better, then we can do better. But we need to hold it loosely, right? Am I good enough to be a leader? Yes and no at the same time. All right, next one. Does my recruiting conversation stink? Well, what happens when you outline, practice, and deliver a good sales conversation? People buy. What happens when you outline, practice, and deliver a good recruiting conversation? People buy, or people move forward, but it's at an inverse rate, and this is where we get tricky. So if you have a good outline, practice, and sales conversations. Our clients will make sales usually like 3 out of 4 people. If you have a good recruiting conversation, you can expect to move 1 person forward out of 4. And for our top enrollers, top sellers, they have a hard time with that. They think it means they're not good at it. But that's actually what success looks like. But most of our clients, before they start working with us, they don't even have an outline. Right? Preparation leads to confidence, which leads to results. And so without an outline, you're just kind of, you're like in space without a spacesuit, you know? So fix this. Outline, practice, and deliver recruiting conversations. Improve as your experience grows. This is not a sexy thing, but really important for confidence. How are we doing so far? Those are 4. Good? You ready for the last one? Am I even trying? Am I even trying? You need to be able to invite 3 to 4 people per week to know how the business works, to even give yourself a shot. Having a specific goal really helps. Right? If you are pursuing full-time income with your network marketing business, you have to activate all the parts of the comp plan. Recruiting is not optional. So where can you invite people? Well, when customers enroll, retention conversations, and you might have some random people where you want to approach them about the business first. But remember, this is a good business because it's a good product. Don't go all weirdo 1985 network marketer on me. Deal? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Hey, 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 I've got an opportunity for you. We can't do that anymore. The market will not accept it. Now, it might be a networking problem, not a recruiting problem. Many of you said in the beginning, finding people. Finding people is not a recruiting problem. It is a networking problem. So there's networking, right, which is you meeting new people. And then the next phase is inviting. You have to have people that you've met with in order to be able to invite to something. So we actually have to separate recruiting problems and networking problems. If it's a networking problem, we just got to start getting out there and meeting people. All right, so it's awkward. What do I say? And you guys can take a screenshot of this if it's helpful. I don't want to make any assumptions. Would you like to learn how to earn money with blank company? Your job is to offer. Their job is decide. If they say yes, no, or maybe. It doesn't actually matter what they say. Usually what I do is set up a time to go over how this could help you, the company, what you would do, and how would you get paid. If you want to do it, great. If not, no big deal. Either way, I want to make sure you make the most informed decision. Would that be helpful? If they say no, that would not be helpful, you say, no problem. If you change your mind, let me know. If they say yes, you set up the appointment. See bottleneck 4. So do you see how it's a mix of my mindset and what to say? So I'm curious. So we've now gone over the 5 bottlenecks. Let me actually go all the way back. All right. So here are the 5 bottlenecks. Do I want to be a leader? What do I do if they say yes? Am I good enough to be a leader? Does my recruiting conversation stink? Am I even trying? And we've gone over solutions for whichever one is the most painful for you.